All right. So I guess now you understand what the plan was.
Absolutely. At Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.
What's going on, Colts Nation? I'm Lawrence Owen. This is Colts Law. With me, as usual, is Colts Loyalist. And today, I have special guest Harrison Woods from UK Colts Fans. What's up, my guy? So as you can see, we all are wearing Colts Law merch. Yeah, Harrison's got his in, and Loyalist has his, and I couldn't find my stinking hoodie, so I wore this shirt and a hat. But of course, Loyalist got his hat on. Man, if you want to, go out and get yourself some really nice merch. I mean, it's good quality. I think it's really good quality for the price that's paid. You can use the link in the description, and very easy. Make sure to check out the Colts Law merch shop. The link is in the description of this video. There are a ton of high quality, reasonably priced items there that you can choose from. And all you got to do is just click one button and you can go and check out all these great merchandise items. So here we are, and we are going to be discussing quarterbacks, NFL quarterbacks, not just Carson Wentz, lots of quarterbacks. And we're going to be discussing contracts. Because as we know, some of these quarterbacks are getting paid fat wads of cash. I mean, last year, Patrick Mahomes signed that $500 million 10-year contract extension. Deshaun Watson over $40 million last year on his extension. It was just in the news a day or so ago that Aaron Rodgers was offered a contract extension by the Packers. Now, he turned it down, but it's hearsay that it was a contract that was going to make him the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, which will put him, way up there. And then Lamar Jackson. It's estimated, rumored that he's going to sign a contract somewhere between $45 million a year. Holy crap. And when you look at this, contract-wise, guys making $40+ million a year at the quarterback. You go, I'm sorry, I got cats up here. They're fighting. And I'm going to ask him to come up here and separate them, please. But anyhow, it makes you wonder. That's like twice as much as the next highest paid player of the next position, right? Pass rushers making anywhere between 20, 25 million. Quarterbacks now are making anywhere between 40 and 50 million dollars. Is quarterbacks on the whole paid a little too much right now? Loyalist, let me hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I'm a firm believer that, these guys are playing a game. And I have nothing against players wanting to go out and get as much as they can. If somebody's willing to pay them that much, then more power to them to go get it. But I also would love for the league to sit there and sort of spread the wealth out a little bit, maybe expand the number of roster members. And instead of paying each quarterback, what is it? Anywhere from 20% of the total salary cap. You know what I mean? I'm not saying totally come in and pull the bottom out on the market, but just lower what you pay them and expand the number of players so we can spread the wealth. Plus, it'll make this expanded league season and stuff, especially if we get to 18 games in the next couple of years. It's going to be a big deal to be able to have these extra people and to be able to weather the storm through injuries and such.
Harrison?
Yeah, I mean, for me, we all want to watch that game that Chris Ballard is building in Indianapolis, where he will pay you what he thinks you are worth. He doesn't care for your agent or whatever. He will say, this is what we're offering. You either take it or leave it. The problem is with that is not everyone has the same philosophy. You know, teams like the Cowboys and the Lions, the fans can come at me, but they're selling teams. The Giants, they are selling teams. They want to sell. They want to sell shirts, tickets. They're not. They don't care about the fans, and that's the be all and end all. They just want the best player because they know if they had Patrick Mahomes, they know they're going to sell 2 billion more shirts. And like Loyalist said, I've got nothing wrong with players going out and getting as much money as they can. But for me, it's just like, when do you turn around and say as a player, you know, I don't need that. People would kill to be in a quarterback's position. You know, I would love to be on the 2-minute game-winning drive in the Super Bowl as a quarterback. So for me, it sort of falls on the players as well to go, well, actually, I could actually start working for the team a bit more here. You know, you look at, I can't really think of a recent example off the top of my head, but you look at someone like Lamar Jackson, who is a key point in that Baltimore team. He could turn around and say, do you know what, I could really help my team out here and take a bit less.
Yeah, that is true. So I got a comment in here. First off, I want to thank Joe Thornburg, Joseph Schmidt, and CNS 420 for joining the stream today. I appreciate each and every one of you for joining. But Schmidt says that most owners are billionaires, pay the darn players. Now, the problem with that is the owners aren't paying it out of their pocket, right? It is specifically a salary cap. It's the amount of money the NFL in general makes, and then it's split up and sent for the players, and each team has an equal amount to do that with. So what each team is paying, as Loyalist was explaining, is a percentage of that total salary that they have to spend on players. It's not like baseball, right, where, you know, the Yankees roll in, you know, $1,800 billion every year, and they're like, well, okay, I'm going to throw you $6 billion to throw 3 pitches today. No, it's not like that, all right? In the NFL, it's more of a combined effort to make things a little bit more even. But at the same time, I get it, right? I get Colts fan, UK Colts fans' opinion as well. A lot of teams, even if you're not successful, right, you're going to go out and get yourself a big name quarterback, at least, because that's going to help your notoriety as a team, and that's going to help your sales and stuff. That's where the owners get the money off of the sales and stuff like that as well. You know, they're, you know, things of that nature. But at the same time, the more notoriety you have, the more money you're going to make. So that's the problem.
You know, good case study or a good example of that is, I mean, especially us in our situation. Back in the early 80s and 90s, you know, we had acceptable quarterback play, but nothing that was ever going to, you know, elevate us deep into the playoffs. Then all of a sudden in 98, Peyton Manning shows up, and not only does he take the NFL by storm, but he takes this community on a ride for 14 years. It was just, I mean, it wasn't matched, you know what I mean? So, you know, that's where I'm like, okay, I understand how important the quarterback situation is, and I understand that you need to do whatever you can to get a quarterback. I'm not arguing that fact either. But, you know, like you said, if every team, if every owner, and if everybody could come to a mutual agreement to where everything still keeps the level playing field, I guess you would say, you know, like you said, so you don't find some teams allocating 60% towards one position and other teams only being able to do 15%. But yes, I understand you cannot go without a good quarterback. So you've got to do whatever it is to get one and to keep them.
Oh, absolutely. But good quarterback, what do you consider this? Where do you put your money, you know, putting the money where your mouth is? But how do you balance the money you're paying versus the talent that you're getting? Now, obviously, if we set the benchmark for Patrick Mahomes, right? Patrick Mahomes being the best quarterback in the NFL right now, $50 million a year. let's say you think you have the 10th best quarterback in the NFL. Where's that pay range, right? Let's say you got a Ryan Tannehill, a darn good quarterback who has proven to be good now that he's out of Miami. Some say he's a bit of a game manager, but he can move as well. He's around number 10, right? Somewhere between 8 and 12, depending upon who you talk to in the NFL. Do you pay him $25 million? And if you do, is that worth $25 million? Is that worth the drop there? Half the price, but being a number 8 to 10 quarterback in the NFL? Or do you want to pay a top 3 or 4 quarterback like Aaron Rodgers or Lamar Jackson or Deshaun Watson or Mahomes and those kind of guys? Do you want to be in that top 4 and shell out all that money? Or do you want to be right around the number 10 range and pay half as much and have more money for your team? Loyalist?
Okay. For me, I think a lot of it depends on how your team's built. Okay? If you're a team that is pass-centric, or in Lamar Jackson's case, he is much, much more famous, I guess you would say, or for the things that he can do with his feet and his legs. Okay? Now, you need to factor in what amount of that productivity affects your team. You know what I'm saying? So if you have a situation where you've got a quarterback, like in Tennessee, you say, okay, Tannehill's a bit of a game manager style, but Derrick Henry is the one who carries the most load for that team. So there I would think, okay, I'm going to worry about allocating more funds to the running back and the offensive line than I would concerning with my quarterback in that situation. But then if you get into a team that is, this high octane Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball all over the field, then, you've got to figure your quarterback comes into play more towards how that team is structured and stuff. So I think to some degree that needs to have something to do with it. But you're still going to run into that. Everybody is going to want to get that. I mean, we've gotten into this habit. If you sign a new contract, it's not whether you're the best. It's just the timing of when did you sign it. And are you going to get that next highest paid player? I think if the league was more, more basing their income off of their productivity instead of when they are coming to sign it just to keep them, I think that would balance things out tremendously.
So, Harrison, if you had the opportunity to have a top 4 quarterback, but your team isn't necessarily built around that type of quarterback. Let's say you have an opportunity to have Lamar Jackson, right? But your team is not built around the Lamar Jackson type quarterback. Would you still want him and then build your team around him and pay him that kind of money? Or would you go lower in the well of quarterbacks with the opportunity to try to spread the wealth around?
Okay, so just to keep it simple, let's say I have the opportunity to bring Lamar to the Colts because that's a team we all know and love, and I'd say the system is different. First of all, this is why we're sat here and Chris Ballard is sat in his GM chair, because these guys get paid millions to work this out, and we've seen the good as Colts fans, and we've also seen the downright ugly in Ryan Grigson. So we know what happens when you pay a quarterback who doesn't fit the system, and you don't work around him, and it just capitulates on itself. But more to your question, Lawrence, is if I'm looking at this professionally, you've got to take the chance on a superstar and hope he works out. You have to take that chance on someone who's people can come at Lamar Jackson and say his arm talent isn't all this, but when you've got a generational talent, and I'm not talking generational as in Brady and Manning, I'm talking generational as in franchise sort of quarterback level. When you've got that opportunity to go for it, you've got to go for it. Because there's hundreds of thousands of wide receivers in America, I'm guessing. Kids coming through college, the guys who are sort of on the fringe trying to get one more year. And and you're always going to find someone else at that level who can make a play. I mean, a good example is Dante Moncrief, someone who's bang average, but he could make a play on occasion. For me, I would just have to believe that Lamar could make that play, if that makes sense what I'm trying to get across.
Yeah. Yeah, if someone's not open, Lamar's able to take off and make a play on his own.
Yeah.
Same with a lot of other quarterbacks, like a Watson or Mahomes or somebody of that nature. Even Josh Allen, Josh Allen, another one of those quarterbacks that can take off and make a play with his legs if he needs to. And then, of course, you got guys who are just arm talents that are ridiculous arm talents, like the Mahomes, like Aaron Rodgers, that can put the ball in a perfect place for an average receiver to make a big play, right? That's what you're saying. So, yeah, I get it. I understand it. Man, it's difficult to think about. Because everybody's got an opinion on this. Everybody. Like Loyalist was saying, let's get in with the Indianapolis Colts, and let's talk about Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, right now, this year, is the 9th highest paid player in the NFL, in quarterback-wise. He's not the 9th highest paid player because there's a few defensive players out there and offensive linemen, if I think now appropriately, that make more than $20 million a year. And that's what he's making currently, 20.4, I think, million a year. And, well, that's what the Colts are paying him. Is Carson, back in 2017, he had that fantastic year. Got that contract extension. Still played well in 2018. Played pretty good through most of 2019. And then last year you have this big dump, right? You could say one way or another, whether it was his fault, whether it was his team's fault, whether it was media, whether it was the franchise itself. Doesn't matter. He just had a bad year. One bad year. Is it difficult to take a chance on a quarterback, or any player for that matter, when it comes to dishing out big time money and seeing someone just kind of fall off, where it doesn't end up working? And like what you saw with Jared Goff with the Rams, what you saw with Winston with the Eagles, we've seen it time and time again where quarterbacks are paid monstrous contracts, and then within 2 years they're gone because they're not playing up to the expectations of that contract. Would that keep you a little bit from, a little on edge on giving out such a massive contract with huge signing bonuses, Loyalist?
Well, for me, I see that, I understand what you're saying for the quarterback position, but I think that goes for every position.
Mm-hmm.
You see these guys get these contracts and stuff, and I don't know if they finally feel like, okay, I've got there, I've accomplished my goal or whatever. And I'm not saying that's what Carson or any other situations are. But my point is I don't feel like you can sit there and make these decisions based out of fear of what could happen. I mean, all you can do is sit there and take what you've already seen, what you project with your present coaching staff. Now, I mean, let's be honest. I don't think we'd be in this situation if Philadelphia didn't have the rash of injuries, or if they didn't have, a plethora of other excuses or other reasons for why things ended up the way they did. Then Carson wouldn't be on the negative side of this conversation. He'd be on the positive side. So, like I said, yes, I understand that you have that fear, but I don't think that you can sit there and base that decision on that, because, I mean, you don't know. Every year, players are constantly getting injured. Players are constantly having things happen outside of their control in their personal life. There's so much more involved in this. I think to sit there and make a decision based on the what if, you would just, I don't see how you could ever make a deal then. I think you just have to go with the facts and what and then with your history and your educated guess, and just go with it.
Any extra thoughts or comments that you want to put into this before we get into the live chat there, Harrison?
I would just say this, NFL, American football, any sport in general, soccer, hockey, all of them, basketball, half the time it's a game of chance and half the time it's a game of luck. It really is one of those things you could slip and miss the ball and it's intercepted and gone for a pick six. So it's easy to say, and it's Captain Hindsight. It's easy to say, if this year doesn't work out, why on earth did Chris Ballard go and get Carson Wentz when there was others available? But Frank's got his guy. I believe the connection that Irsay, Ballard, and Reich have together is they just trust each other. And, we've seen it multiple times. We could have gone and got a massive name. We have the cap space. We could have gone and got Matthew Stafford for whatever the Rams got him for, if we wanted to. But it's just not how we build our team. It's all on how you build your team. And this is where you look at the GMs and say, you look at Chris Ballard and he's doing a fantastic job. But we've also seen the shit where, pardon my language, we've also seen Ryan Grigson, who didn't know how to GM. At the end of the day, he just didn't know how to.
He did it very differently.
He wanted the next shiny toy. And it cost us severely. So you have to look at the GMs, and for me, it's more the GMs have to be more qualified. If the GMs were more qualified and not just more who you knew in the league, we might see a change in pay scale.
All right, guys. I want to thank everybody who's joining me right here live. If you're watching this right now, please don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag that notification bell so that you're notified next time I go live. If you're watching this recording, please do the same thing. I mean, you could do it now or you could do it later. It doesn't matter to me. Just do it, please. Don't forget, check out the description of this video. Inside here, you got links to all sorts of stuff. You got links to my Patreon. It's only $5 a month. Easy peasy. My merch shop, which I already did a thing for that. And Super Chat. The Super Chat right there. Very top link right there in the description. Please use that rather than the YouTube. And don't forget, this video is brought to you by Newsbreak. Please go check out Newsbreak. The link is in the description right below the Super Chat one. I've got videos on there, Loyalist and I. We have uploaded videos on there and will continue to do so that aren't posted anywhere else. Just make sure you click the link and give me a follow. This video is sponsored by Newsbreak. Newsbreak is an app used over 1.5 billion times a month by people just like you to get local news via articles or videos by those who are focused on that specific area. People like myself. Just use the link in the description of this video to download it. Then search a city, state, or someone specific, like myself, Colts Law. Then make sure to follow them so you'll get all the news fresh as it comes out. All right, we're at that point of the stream. We're 23 minutes in. We're going to get to the live chat, so I'm loving the fact that I got 2 extra guys rather than just one to sit here and discuss what we got here. Thornburg brings up a good point. Roethlisberger won Super Bowl with the Steelers and was far from the highest paid, let alone the best player on the team. It was all about the defense and the role players that year. I saw that Trent Dilfer was brought up as well. So, I mean, it's obvious that you don't have to have great quarterback play to win a Super Bowl. But let's face it. The majority of Super Bowls are won by guys who are considered top 5 quarterbacks. The majority of them, right? I mean, we look at it. You look at Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl. But just having a great quarterback's not enough, as we saw last year, right? Patrick Mahomes, best quarterback in the NFL, couldn't do nothing because he was running for his life the entire time. You got to have the money and be able to spend and get help for your guys. Well, let's see here. Oh, Alpha Wolf, what's up? Appreciate you being here. Same with Nomadic Brian. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. By the nature of the position, everything runs through a quarterback, but some quarterbacks do more pre-snap. Some do more off the field. Some have are different on the field threats. And I think that the money should depend on how heavily they are relied on by their teams, besides generational talent, of course. Yes, I won't disagree with that. It's not just generation; it's how much the team leans on that quarterback, right? Harrison, of the quarterbacks that the Colts have had, and you're really big into Chris Ballard. Would you say that sometimes any GM can make like a questionable call? I mean, even to fans. Remember Brissett?
Mm-hmm.
Jacoby Brissett, he was paid what, $27 million a year, right? He was one of the top 10 paid players. I think he was top 7 one year. You know, in that 2-year span where he was paid fat cash. I love myself some Chris Ballard, but would you say that the Brissett contract might have been a little iffy, especially in hindsight? But I'm trying to take hindsight away. At that point in time, when you saw the contract drop, was you all excited about it, or was you a little worried about it?
I mean, I don't think anyone was excited about it as much as, you know, as a community, we love Jacoby. He's such a great guy on and off the field. He's done loads in Indy, getting people to vote and all that jazz. He really is a great guy in the locker room as well. We didn't love the deal. You know, I'm pretty sure we can all agree here that the deal was not the best, but it happens. You know, guys make mistakes, and for me, we had just lost Andrew Luck to retirement. I think it was just a bit of a panic move by a GM who, thankfully, has faced enough controversy and awful quarterbacks, you know, to try and patch away through a season. And it was just a panic move, and it happens. You know, he has done questionable things. He's not a flawless GM. There's no such thing. You look at, you know, people are questioning Rock Ya-Sin because he didn't have a great last year. But what I do like about Chris Ballard, he will turn around and he will say if he was wrong. He's not, you know, petty enough to not admit that when he's wrong. So obviously, like you say, hindsight, it wasn't the right thing to do because that whole experiment with Rivers and Brissett, it just really didn't work out. The 4-for-1 packages or whatever they want to call it did not work out. But if we hadn't have taken that shot, would we be sitting here today going, oh, I wonder if we paid Jacoby Brissett a bit more and kept him around?
I want to shout out MTS Wood. Thank you so much. $20 says GTIF nerds. Hope you guys are doing well. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you so much for the donation. He used the link right there in the description, like I said, or in the description of the video, right below me, actually, here on this video. Feel free to do so. I really appreciate it. It'll help me continue to bring content to you guys by allowing me to continue purchasing upgrades for my system, my purchasing software, things of that nature. I mean, well, let's face it, Game Pass is not cheap. So, and then, of course, this StreamYard here that I use to get everyone together, that's like $25 a month, you know. So, thank you so much. I appreciate that a lot. All right. Let's get back into the chat. Let's see what else. Whoa, we got a lot of people in here. McChicken is in here. What's up, McChicken? He says, Brad Johnson. Schmidt says, you mentioned Grigson, and I kind of threw up in my mouth a little bit. That's pretty funny. Schmidt, you're right. Brady has never been a top 5 paid quarterback in the NFL. I think he was last year. I think he got paid $30 million last year, and that put him right around top 5. So, but other than that, no, generally, with the Patriots, he was always taking team-friendly deals in order to keep guys around him to make a team good.
Yeah, and you look at some of the teams that have made big waves, like Seattle, when they had Wilson on his rookie deal, or Mahomes when he was on his rookie deal. You see these teams make their biggest leap when their quarterback is, tucked away on these small deals. That's when they're able to fill their rosters and stuff. And then the hardest thing is just trying to keep them all together as much as you can whenever it's time for your quarterback to get paid.
Yeah. Matt Stansberry, thank you so much. How cool is it to have the NFL and especially Colts fans in the United Kingdom? Let's go. Harrison, what games are being played over there this year?
I'd be lying if I said I knew. I think it's all been messed about because of the situation going on around the world. The Jags will be over here because they are the adopted British team at the minute because of the Owners' connection to London and Sadiq Khan. I'd be lying if I said I knew what games were over here. We are everywhere, Colts fans. Believe it or not, I was shocked when I started speaking to people like around the world. I'm talking like Europe and stuff like that, China and people like that, who just pick a team and a bit like me, just pick a team and hope that they're all right.
Yeah. Brian says, I like it when people from the UK say bollocks. Is there a special kind of, since we're a good 30 minutes in, is there a type of curse that you like to say that's not a generally American curse? People say bloody and bollocks and stuff like that. Is there something like that you like to say all the time? That's a habit.
Yeah, I'll try and keep it as PG as I can because obviously there's the real naughty ones. But you guys know that. But I suppose the big English one is twat, as in TWAT.
Okay.
It sort of refers to the lady part, shall we say?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. That's enough. When you like stub your toe or you step on a bit of Lego, and you're like, you.
All right. I generally use the SOB term a lot. Frosty Warrior, what's up? Appreciate you being in here. Stansberry says, and wanker. So that's interesting. You guys over there, you guys have got a lot of terms that we don't have. And it's very interesting. The language barrier. We share the same language, but there's still a barrier there. But it's because we're separated by this great big pond between us, right?
Yeah. Like 2 days ago, I was talking to this person from Ireland, and he was like, "Well, I got to get out of here. I got to go get pissed." And I was like,
drunk.
What? And I didn't realize that meant go out and get drunk drinking and stuff. I was like, oh, okay.
We call it trashed.
Yeah.
Would that mean the same thing over in the UK? Trashed? Would you use that in reference to getting pissed?
Yeah, you would on occasion. And the best thing about the UK, we're probably the size of one state, but I could drive 20 minutes. I'm talking literally down the road, and the accent's changed, and people are saying different words to me, and I can't even understand them. It's just a crazy place of accents, and I think as Americans, and England, we all get the stereotypical versions of each other's country because of TV.
Yeah.
Like, I watch sitcoms, so to me, the whole of America like that. I know it's not, but that's instantly what you think. And like, you guys have probably watched Hugh Grant in a romantic comedy with Keira Knightley, the posh English people, who play tennis or something, and it's just not like that. But yeah, obviously, like you said, the language is different. Like, we say pavement, you guys say sidewalk, you say trash, we say rubbish, and you just gotta love it.
Yeah. Actually, one of my favorite YouTube channels is what is that, Across the Pond or something like that? With Lawrence Brown, actually, is the host of that YouTube channel. YouTube sensation. That's what he says, anyhow. Actually, used to live in the same city I lived in Anderson, Indiana, and we were both named Lawrence, which is weird. But anyhow, Matt says that he wants to go to UK just to watch an NFL game there. He says that would be so sick. Man, you guys have got some really cool stadiums. And have you been to like some of the bigger stadiums there over there?
I mean, I've been to Wembley, which is where some of the NFL games are played. Massive. I've been to the Emirates Stadium, which is my soccer team, Arsenal, who I support, their ground. And, it is good. And I've never been to an NFL game yet. I do plan to go to one. Timings of my life, it just never worked out to get to one. But I want to go to one in America because I feel like we try too hard over here to try and make it an American experience rather than making it a British experience with an American game coming over. Like, I think, you guys in soccer, probably for your fans, you try and make it an English experience rather than making it an American experience with an English game. Because, you'd probably come to Wembley to try and sell you a Bud Light for like 15 quid or something. And it's just like, for me, I want to go to a game in Lucas Oil, tailgating, drinking beers in the parking lot, having guys who are just cooking ribs this big and burgers like that and stuff like that. That's the experience for me. But more for your thing about stadiums is, yeah, they are big, and they are, you go in there, you're like, wow, this is amazing. But for me, I like I'm getting a bit sidetracked now, but like the lower league in soccer, the stadiums are tiny. They hold probably a couple hundred people, but you're stood about 5 feet away from the players. You can chat with the goalkeeper during the game and give him a bit of banter. And
it's a better experience then.
Yeah, it's funner. It's more together. Whereas, like the big clubs, and I'm sure you guys will know this, the big franchises, it's more of a tourist attraction. So that's for me. I'd love to go to like a college game because I feel like it'd be more of a community feeling.
Okay, Alex, glad you could be here, man. Appreciate you being here, and I always bring up the content the best I can. Anyhow, I'm going to be honest with everybody. Loyalist has helped out with a lot of topics over the last couple weeks. So, he has been a real co-host lately. So I really appreciate that. I personally think that he has kind of filled this role and grown into it very, very well. Let him know in the live chat what you think how he has done since he's came on and helped. Dabney, what's up? Will Leonard be paid way too much? I don't think any outside linebackers worth $20 million a year. Smith, Leonard, and Nelson will make 25% of the hard cap. Are they worth it? Okay. Kind of had this a little bit the other day where we talked about it. But we got Harrison here with us, so he could throw his opinion in it. In my opinion, I think he's worth $19 million a year. Because look at it, it's just like a quarterback, okay? When you look at it, you're like, well, he's an outside linebacker, he shouldn't get paid that much. It has to do with what his production is on the field, okay? How he impacts a game. Darius Leonard impacts a game more than anyone else, even Buckner. He impacts the game by making game-changing plays, being at the ball when it needs to be, bringing up the team, everything. And to me, that makes him worth that kind of money, because a defense without Darius Leonard there is not anywhere near the same defense. And that makes huge difference. And you pay for something like that. Harrison, what's your thoughts on that? And then we'll get the Loyalist right after that.
I mean, it's Darius Leonard, man. Like, give the guys the key to the city. This guy would. Let's not forget, he was the worst pick in the draft. The worst pick in the draft. And he's turned a laughable defense to one of the most feared. And I think it goes back to what Loyalist was saying earlier, or it might have been you, Lawrence, is you look at what they can bring off the pitch and in the locker room and in the community rather than them as a player. Because as soon as you start looking at guys as players and numbers, that's when you lose the team spirit. So you look at Darius Leonard, like he stiff-armed Kenny Stills 6 foot under against the Texans after scooping it up 6 inches from the floor. He made that forced fumble to Deshaun Watson on the goal line twice. Once. I think it was. I can't remember who did it the other time, but he's there and he makes the plays. And if we still had Anthony Walker, I would be saying, I wouldn't pay him $19 million a year. But it's the price you have to pay if you want to be a Super Bowl team.
Yeah, and I think Darius, like you guys have referred. I mean, I remember back to a couple years ago in that Oakland game when he punches that ball loose and stuff, and stops Oakland from driving down the field and possibly winning the game. What was it last year against the Texans? Well, QT catches the ball and he's looks like he's about to reach across the goal line, and Leonard comes and punches it loose, and then we end up recovering the ball, and turning the. Instead of them scoring the touchdown, we ended up getting possession, driving the ball back down, chewing out the clock, and winning that game. When a player affects the outcome of games the way Darius does, I mean, he's more than just a tackle guy. He's more than just your spiritual leader or your energy leader or whatever you want to say. Like you said, he changes the flow of games, and then on top of that, Chris Ballard has built this community and built this team off of with the motto of, we're going to draft good and we're going to reward the guys that come in and perform. If you let go, or if you don't pay Darius Leonard what he's asking for and he goes and gets somewhere else to get it, I just have to believe that would really damage the locker room. And if this team, I mean, your coaches are very important. I'm not denying that. But if you go out there with these players and they're not fully engaged and fully willing to sacrifice and put their body in harm's way because they don't think the team's got their back, I just think that's a cancer that would just end up killing this team.
All right. Nomadic Brian says, okay, someone brought up Leonard. Was $19 million in anyone's original ballpark estimate, and would this affect keeping all that we want to keep? So first off, I was estimating somewhere between $18 and $20 million. I've said that for all season. About a month or so ago, we had a salary cap expert on here, and we had talked with him, and I asked him that specific question. If we paid Darius $18 to $20 million, would that affect? Would we be able to keep Smith and Leonard and Nelson and pay them all top dollar? And he said, by the way that Chris Ballard has designed the contracts and done the contract work for the Indianapolis Colts, that would not be a problem, and that we would be able to keep all the big names that we need to. Now, we're not going to have a whole bunch of intermediaries. Players. We're going to have some big names on both sides of the ball, and then we're going to have to rely on a lot of rookie contracts and things like that for other players. But that's what was explained to me, and he believes that's how Chris Ballard is planning on going about things. There's a guy in the chat. I can't pronounce his name because I don't speak that language. I'm not even going to take a guess as to what language it is. But thank you for joining, and I appreciate you joining the chat. He says, or she, I don't know if it's a he or a she. Manchester United fans want to oust the American owners of the team because they only care about money. They want an English owner with a real mentality for football. Harrison,
yeah,
could you comment on that?
Yeah, and I think what they're trying to say is, I think what they're getting at is, do you want a fan as a GM or an owner? Like, should you have certain commitments to your sports team? Like, the guy who owns Arsenal, Stan Kroenke, you'll know him as the Rams owner, is woeful. He's a disgraceful owner. He doesn't come to any games. He didn't even know what colour we played in. And I think what whoever's in the chat is trying to say is, I think there should be some commitment from owners to go to games, to get to know the locals, to get to know the community, to not just hide away in their billionaire offices, not even in the same country or continent as their team. So, yeah, I mean, I get where they're coming from, but obviously, who has the money? Not us. They do. And at the end of the day, they don't care.
Matt Stansberry says that that language is Hebrew and his name is Daniel. So thank you, Daniel. I'm sorry if I can't read something. I'm still gonna bring your chat in, but I'm not gonna make guesses on anything, okay? Because I don't want to make an ass out of you or me or anybody, okay? But appreciate the comment, and thank you, Harrison, for putting your thoughts on that. Stansberry says, personally, I would keep him forever, but it comes down to staff's expertise to calculate his value. He may be worth more to the team as a trade, depending upon how Wentz does. Oh, are we talking about Wentz? Yeah. 20 mil a year. Nah. I don't think he's going to get over 20 mil. Okay? I really don't. I think he's going to get... I think the maximum amount of money Darius Leonard's going to get is 19.1. Because he's going to want, most likely, right around where Warner got. And since he got 19 and just a touch, a little sugar coat over 19 mil a year. Okay? 19.1 will give him more money than that. And they could still set up that contract to where it's not going to hurt the team long term. So, guys, I think this has been a pretty good stream, man. Let's see here. We got one simple fact about Carson Wentz. Yes, we're paying. Carson's only getting paid 20 mil a year. You got guys out here that are making 20, 25, $30 million a year more than what the Colts are paying Wentz. Right? If Wentz plays average, he's worth 20 mil a year. Yeah. At least in my opinion, for the Colts. If he just plays average, he's getting paid less than what we paid Phillip Rivers. Mm-hmm. And Rivers was on the last leg of his career, as we found out after he retired. I hate to say that. It sounds bad, but it is what it is. But yeah, I'm not going to guesstimate on whether or not we give him an extension because we got to see what Wentz is going to be like this year, obviously. But I would hate to see or think that the Indianapolis Colts would give up a first-round pick, a first and a third-round pick, and not keep a player longer than 2 years. Right? That's why I was a little worried about the Julio Jones. I was hoping that Colts wouldn't grab Julio Jones because I don't know, is Julio still going to be a top-notch player in 2 or 3 years? We don't know because he's at that age. Was he last year? Absolutely. When healthy, he was a dominant player in the NFL. But we'll see. We'll see. Wait. The only thing that I hate about this stream is every time you see me, you crave Penguin Point. Man, I love Penguin Point. I got a Penguin Point like 3 blocks. See, Harrison don't even know what Penguin Point is. It's a restaurant. All right, it's a fast food chain. Drive up. They got all kinds of stuff that you guys don't even know anything about. They got a speaker system that's like from drive-in theaters, but you don't even know what a. Well, no, there's some drive-in theaters in the UK now, right?
Yeah. There's a couple.
Yeah.
There's a couple.
Yeah. McChicken says Pat's paying Cam $10 million a year. Well, he's got to prove that he can make more than $10 million a year, right? I mean, last year that's about what Cam was worth, honestly, in his play. Bottom 5 quarterback pay. But as Ray Rout and all them say, it's the year of no excuses for Cam Newton. He's got to ball out, or he's got to put up or shut up, right? No more excuses for that man. Stansberry, Big Wally and the best crinkle fries in the world. Man, the Wally's good. The pointers are good. We're talking about Penguin Point. And honestly, dude, their tenderloins are awesome because you get a breaded tenderloin. They put cabbage on it rather than lettuce, and I think it's perfect. I'm not used to having shredded cabbage on a sandwich, but it's not bad. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we have gone off the rails. We are talking about fast food restaurants. I have yet to eat today, and I've been up since 8 o'clock this morning. So that's been 11 hours. I ain't ate nothing yet. All right, so I need to eat something. It's probably like 2 in the morning or something like that for Harrison, right?
Not that bad. It's about midnight.
Midnight. Still, midnight. He's here way late in the evening where he's at just to hang out with us. So, man, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here.
Always a pleasure.
And guys, seriously, you need to check out his channel. It's a blast. You get to hear a lot of different points of view, and they don't hold any punches. I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah. I've been on there a few. I think I was your first guest on your new setup that you had. Yeah, so I've been on there a couple times. Might join again at some other point. But, guys, thank you so much for joining. Please go check out UK Colts fans on YouTube. It is here. Just type in UK Colts and you'll find them. It's very simple. And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Colts Loyalist. That's Harrison from UK Colts fans. And until next time, have a good one.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.